Hello, good morning, and welcome again to one of our science online classes. Today is March 31, Tuesday. How are you doing this week? Are you feeling fine? Are you enjoying our online classes? That is great. So please prepare your coursebook, pen, and notes with you. We're going to need this at the course of this discussion. So if you don't have them, please hit pause. I'm going to wait for you. And if you're ready, let's answer this mind-boggling question. Ready? Let's go. Question number 1. It is the world's tallest twin building at a height of 1,483 feet. What is this? Time is up. The correct answer is it's Petronas Tower. And it is found in Malaysia. You might have seen this in one of the postcards. Great job. Question number 2. The material that makes up this famous tower, the majority of this material. Let's see your answer. It's iron. So most of these are actually iron, and we're going to take a look. If it's iron, then what's the danger of building structures which is made up of iron, especially nowadays? Great job. Next question. The strongest known metal in terms of its capacity to resist stress or force, and you have the clue here. The symbol is W. Pretty tough question. Let's see if you get it correctly. It's tungsten. So notice here that we're talking about metals. So what do you think is our topic for today? Let's see. Okay, but before that, please write your mark in the chat box, or you can message me about your mark here if you finished watching this one. So let's see our topic for today. Our topic for today is all about rusting. So you can open your course book on page 120 to 121 for your reference. And we're going to talk here what really is rusting all about. So at the end of this lesson, you're going to make inferences on what causes iron, most especially iron. That's why we were talking about iron a while ago, to rust. And there's the word rust, and we're going to define here what is rusting and what materials are rusting and what causes them to rust. And since rusting is not really good, so we're going to suggest here ways on how to protect iron from rusting. So just a very brief insight, or just a very brief knowledge about the iron. So if you notice, and everyone notices it, when iron is left out in a damp air, most especially if it's raining or the air is moist, it turns into something different. There's a discoloration that's happening here, and what we call that is rust. And we're going to identify here what makes up a rust, what is a chemical reaction that leads to the formation of the rust, and what element is needed in formation of the rust. Are you ready? Let's go. So I have here I have here materials. I've seen their material. A, it's a foil and it's made up of aluminum. B, try to look at it. C, it's a really new, it's very nice architectural structure. Letter D, and look at the letter E. So which of the following materials here you think would rust? Think. You have the answer in mind? Can I hear it? Did you say A? Or did you say B? Did you say C? Did you say D? Or is it E? So the one which rust here is only actually letter C. This one. This one is steel. And if you look back here on these materials, this does not rust. So you might confuse that letter A might rust because it's a kind of metal, the one found in the periodic table, and also letter D. But it's actually only letter C, the one which rust. And I have here a time lapse. It's been taken with a camera and it's been fast forward for a period of I think like 22 days. So it rust actually. So steel is the one which rust. So if you answered steel, could you please tell me one word that makes you think that this material will rust? You have already one word for that? Let's see. So what's that word? Okay, so because it's a metal, that's good, and it's made up of steel, and steel are metal, and it can be made up of iron because steel are made from iron. So it's basically an alloy or a combination of carbon and iron, and that makes up the steel. Or you would be saying that it would rust because it's exposed to air, or it's exposed to water. And because steel, when exposed to air and water, they form rust. So the question here is why metal, why iron, why steel, and why, if it's exposed to air and water, why rust will form? What's in the air, water, and these materials that makes up rust? So to discuss more about that, let's define first what is rust. So rust is formed when iron, and only iron, take note of that, and only iron reacts with a certain kind of element is present in air and water. What is common element found there? Hydrogen? It's actually oxygen. So when iron reacts with oxygen, which is basically present in the air or sometimes in water, so the product of this is oxygen plus iron plus oxygen will lead to the formation of iron oxide. This is now the product if you react a metal iron with the oxygen, and we commonly call this as rust, and the process is called rusting. So our chemical equation for this would be iron plus oxygen, and it will give you iron oxide. So examples of iron are steel, and this one, it's a horseshoe. Are you familiar with a horseshoe? This is the shoes of the horse, and I know that you might have horses in your farm. You're basically familiar with it. So we have here copper. The question here is, does copper form rust? What do you think? So to identify that, let's take a look with these situations that I have here. I have your item 1. It's a Statue of Liberty, which is made up of copper actually, and it turns green once exposed to air or to rain. Look at item number 2. Are you familiar with Titanic? And the entire ship is actually made of steel. Look at item number 3. It's a Parthenon in Greece, and this one is basically made up of rocks, specifically limestone. And look at item number 4. Well, he didn't get the Eiffel Tower by his hand. So Eiffel Tower turns reddish. So which of the following here shows rusting? So let's see. So only item 2 and 4 forms rusting. Item 1 and 3 do not form rust. The question is why? Look at the caption. So steel contains actually iron. So once it's exposed to oxygen, it forms iron oxide. However, item 1 and 3 do not contain any iron. Item 1 contains copper. Item 3 contains calcium carbonate, and they do not form iron oxide. So remember, rust is iron oxide, and only those which contains iron forms iron oxide or forms rust. So item 2 and 4 item 2 and 4 forms rusting. However, 1 and 3 they do not rust. So what's process is involved here? It's corrosion. So what is the difference between corrosion and rust? I want you to focus your attention in here and in here. So corrosion is just a process of deterioration. Deterioration means destruction of a substance due to a chemical or electrochemical or other reactions that takes place on the surface of that substance. It can either be skin, if it's sensitive, wood, and metals other than iron. However, rusting is the red or orange coating that forms on the surface of iron when exposed to air and moisture. And basically, it only occurs on iron and steel. Why steel? Because steel contains iron. So, what causes iron to rust? So we have here a very simple experiment, and hopefully that we can do that in the laboratory. So we have here 4 setups. So we need nails, which contains iron, distilled water, we have sodium chloride, table salt, which will represent the seawater, a freshly boiled distilled water. We also have here the edible oil and calcium chloride. I want you to take note of that name. And test tube with stoppers, 4 of them, a beaker and a funnel and a pipette and a spatula or spoon. And also we need a glass rod. So we're going to put these materials in the test tube. We're going to put the nails inside the test tube to test at which condition the nails will rust. So we put in test tube 1 distilled water. So on test tube number 2, we're going to put distilled water plus table salt. So again, this one will represent your seawater. So we're going to add it on test tube number 2. On test tube number 3, we're going to put freshly boiled distilled water. But the difference of test tube number 3 with test tube number 1 is that, of course, it's boiled, and we put edible oil on it. And on test tube number 4, we're going to put calcium chloride. So take note that the calcium chloride has the capability to absorb any moisture which is found inside the test tube. So again, with the test tube number 4, there's calcium chloride. It does not contain any moisture because it's being absorbed. So test tube number 1 contains air and water. Air and water in test tube number 2. For test tube number 3, it's the same thing. However, it's we have there the edible oil. And for test tube number 4, we have dry air because it's the dry air is all absorbed by the calcium chloride. So we're going to take a look. This one in test tube number 1. Look at what is formed. Did we form rust? Exactly, we form rust. On test tube number 2, look at compare the rust. This one is test tube number 3. Is there any rust? There's no actually rust. And look at test tube number 4. There is no rust at all. So I have it represented here. I only chose test tube 1, test tube 2, test tube 3, water and air, boiled water and no air, and dry air. So which test tube where the nail will have no rust at all? Which one do you think? Of course, it's test tube number 3. Why? Because there's no dry air, there's no air present in it. It's just dry air. So basically, no oxygen or no moist. Which tube, on the other hand, where the nail will be very, very rusty? Very good. It's in test tube number 1. Why? What do you think? Very good, because there's water and air on it. And I want you to take a look with question number 3. Which tube where the nail will only have a very small amount of rust? It rusts, but only in a very small amount. Exactly, at test tube number 2, because there's still water in it and no air. So my question here is, which element or which condition is present in 1 and 2 why rust forms, but not in number 3. What do you think? Exactly, because of the presence of water and air, but basically more of the moist air which is present, because there's water and air here. Here there's no air, but still there's moisture present. So a lot of percentage of that comes from the moist air. So what's with the moist air that makes things go rusty or creates rust? Exactly, because of the presence of one element, and that is oxygen. So rust forms. However, this formation of rust is not really good for the eyesight. It destroys the iron. For example, it's present on structures like Eiffel Tower or like any other buildings, your fences perhaps. So suggest one way on how to stop or slow down rusting. So please type your suggestion on the chat box. I'm gonna wait for it. I'm gonna give you a minute to think about it and type it on your chat box. Or if you're watching this in a video, you can put that in the comments on our Google Classroom or in the comments of the video where you're watching this. Okay, please type. Okay, do you have something in your mind? I also have here two suggestions, two best practices that are considered to be ways on how to prevent, to stop, or to slow down rusting. One is painting, and the second one is galvanizing. Let's take a look first with painting. So we usually do this on metal surfaces. We put paint. Why? Because we need to cover the iron so oxygen will not reach it or will not penetrate it. But of course, when the paint when the paint is destroyed or the paint is gone already, oxygen can penetrate, and that's why you need to repaint your fences, your metal fences, or other surfaces which contains metal. And another one is galvanizing. Otherwise, the process is called galvanization, and you have it here. That's how they produce metal. So when metals reach on hardwares or department stores, they are already galvanized. So what is the meaning of the word galvanization or galvanizing? Very good. Galvanization means you cover the steel or you cover the iron with zinc. And take a look here. Sometimes it's being submerged in a molten zinc to cover it up, or it runs into this galvanizing machine to cover the metal, so that this one is for the metal sheets. It's a flattened metal here, so that it will be covered by zinc, so that you can preserve it, or you can use the steel, or you can have the steel for a longer period of time without destroying it or without forming any rust. And again, this is a kind of chemical reaction which is really destructible because it forms iron oxide. So these are just some of the two ways on how to prevent steel from forming into rust. So do you still have any other question? So if you don't have any question, let's test your knowledge on how much you know about our lesson for today. Are you ready? If you're not yet ready, you can replay this video. But if you're ready, let's go. This is question number 1. Write your answer on the chat box, or you can write it on a paper if you're watching this in a video. And I want to know what is your mark, and message me your mark after this. Alright, so question number 1. Which tube here, look at test room 1, 2, and 3, there is no rust formed. You already have the answer? Let's see. It's test tube number 3. Got it correctly? 1 mark for that. Let's take a look with question number 2. I need here the element. Did you get it? Let's see. It's basically oxygen. Okay. Question number 3. Which tube where there will be so much rust? So much. Let's take a look with your answer if it's right. It's test tube number 1 because you have moist air here, air and water. Awesome. Next, number 4. Which event takes place in here? Did you answer rusting? Rusting is wrong because this one is copper and it reacts with oxygen, so forming copper oxide. But this is not rusting, it's corrosion. Let's take a look with question number 5. What are the 2 reactants in rusting? You already have the answer? Let's see. It's iron plus oxygen. Remember, you need to have these 2 reactants to form rust. Iron plus oxygen because the product is iron oxide, otherwise known as rust. And let's take a look with number 6. What process is shown here? Let's see your answer. It's galvanizing. It's putting zinc on it. So, how much mark did you get? Did you get all 6 questions? That's awesome. Please let me know what is your mark here. Please message me, or you can write it on the comments. You can write it in the comments below, or you can email me for your marks so that I can record it. Good job. So this will be our, if you have any questions or clarifications, just feel free to message me on our Google Classroom, or you can email me, or you can send me a private message and I will answer you as soon as I can. Alright? So this marks the end of our chemistry topic. So bidding goodbye to chemistry, and next week we're going already to tackle about physics, to welcome to the world of physics, and that will be our topic next week, Sunday. Are you ready for it? Me, I'm ready for it. So if you don't have any other question, please answer your worksheet on our Google Classroom. Just go to the classwork I posted there, your worksheet. It's all about rusting, and hopefully that you will get a high mark on it. So again, if you have questions, just feel free to message me. And that's all. Hope you enjoyed. Goodbye.